So Uruguay, Colorado, Washington, these states have been legalized. Their marijuana has been legalized. Legalized in these states. So these states have been legalized. The marijuana has been legalized for even recreational use, so anybody could buy it. And in fact, Uruguay is encouraging them. The government's buying it, and for tax-free, they're saying you can produce it for tax-free. You can raise up to 6 plants. You could, if you're a pharmacy, you don't have to pay the taxes because they want to undercut the black market prices. So they want to put the drug lords out of business, and so they're selling it as dirt cheap as possible, and they're giving the people a nice, I don't know, you can at least get an ounce per month. So they're regulating it to where they're saying people can smoke weed all day long if they wanted to. So they're not encouraging it, however, because he is very conservative. He's only allowing 6 plants, and he's actually, whereas in Colorado and Washington you could buy an ounce in a day, you can only buy an ounce for a month. So I think that is enough that one person could use an ounce for the month. But people have families, right? They have uncles and aunts and anyways, so it also didn't the crime rate goes down whenever you legalize marijuana. So there's an added criminal element to anything that's illegal. Cuban cigars are illegal because we're not allowed to trade with Cuba because of something, I don't know, something happened 70 years ago. A revolution of sorts, which is the Cuban Revolution, would be a good one to get into. The Haitian Revolution, those are really good revolutions, and it's fascinating. A tiny little, he felt like a helpless giant. That's what Nixon said. We're a helpless giant, and Cuba could just change their economic system to whatever they want without our permission. Before they used to snipe and kill people, they killed the leader of Chile, right, Salvador Allende in '73, because he was a socialist president. But marijuana legalized in 3 months after Colorado residents legalized recreational marijuana with the passage of Amendment 64 in November 2012. Sheriff Tom Allman of Mendocino County, California, haven for marijuana growers, warned that an onslaught of crime was headed towards Colorado. Thugs are going to put on masks, they come to your house, they kick down your door, they point guns at you, and they say, "Give me your marijuana, give me your money." So Allman's scaring the shit out of everybody in Colorado. He told this to I don't even know who this guy is. He told a Denver TV station in February. State became the first to legalize marijuana for medical use in 1996, and then Colorado followed suit in 2000. But a new report contends that 14 years later, even after Colorado legalized the sale of small amounts of marijuana for recreational use in January 1st of this year, violent property crime rates in the city are falling. So they're going down. The crime rates in Colorado, obviously, why would they not? It's now you can safely get your weed instead of having, the criminal element that opens a Pandora's box for anything and everything to allow it to happen. So Uruguay is actually doing a conservative measure because they're trying to just block off all the crime that actually is going on day in and day out that you're not stopping. So they're curbing it by actually selling good, high quality, cheap marijuana to the people. We could see the evidence from Colorado that crime rates are going down. All the scare tactics, all the supposed horror stories are not true. They're not we're not going to be like, I don't know, reefer madness. Don't believe the terrifying hype. Oh my God. A new report contends that 14 years later, even after Colorado legalized the sale of small amounts of marijuana and recreational use, violent property crime rates in the city are falling. According to the data from the Denver Police Department, violent crime, including homicide, sexual assault, robbery, and aggravated assault, fell by 6.9% in the first quarter in 2014 compared with the same period of 2013. Property crime, burglary, larceny, auto theft, theft of motor vehicle, and arson dropped by 11.1%. A study looking at the legalization of medical marijuana nationwide, published late last month in the journal PLOS 1+1, found that the trend holds. Not only does medical marijuana legalization not correlate with an uptick in crime, researchers from the University of Texas at Dallas argue it actually reduces it. Using statistics from the FBI's Uniform Crime Report, controlling for variables like the unemployment and poverty rates, per capita income, age of residents, proportion of residents with college degrees, Number of police officers and prisoners, and even beer consumption. Researchers analyzed data from all 50 states between 1990 and 2006. California became the first state to legalize medical marijuana in 1996. In the decade that followed, 10 states followed suit. Today, that number is up to 20 states, including Kentucky and the District of Columbia. They wrote the central finding gleaned from the present study was that MML, medical marijuana legalization, is not predicative of higher crime rates and may be related to reductions in rates of homicide and assault. Interestingly, robbery and burglary rates were unaffected by the medicinal marijuana legislation, which runs counter to the claim that dispensaries and grow houses lead to an increase in victimization due to opportunity structures linked to the amount of drugs and cash that are present. The study drew a link between marijuana and alcohol use, surmising that the legalization of pot could cause the number of alcohol-fueled crimes to decline. While it's important to remain cautious when interpreting these findings as evidence that MML reduces crime, these results do fall in line with recent evidence, and they conform to the long-standing notion that marijuana legalization may lead to a reduction in alcohol use due to individuals substituting marijuana for alcohol. Given the relationship between alcohol and violent crime, it may turn out that substituting marijuana for alcohol leads to minor reductions in violent crimes that can be detected at the state level. So you actually want people to be on marijuana than on alcohol. Alcohol, you're going to beat your wife, but nobody smokes pot and beats their wife. That doesn't happen. And so that's not the effects. If it happens, it's just because, you know, it was something that he wanted to do beforehand. So it has nothing to do with the drug itself. It's like I don't know. It's a tool, right? So it's like a gun or a hammer or the government, right? It's who's controlling that tool, and what are you doing with that hammer? Are you building a house? Good. Are you hitting people on the head with that hammer? Bad. Okay, so the hammer is not to be blamed. It would be the person, it would be the mental illness, it would be the anger, it would be whatever is, you know, why he feels insulted, maybe even the disrespect or the crime, the alleged injustice. As a growing number of states are moving to legalize the use and sale of both medical and recreational marijuana, public opinion has changed dramatically. A Gallup poll from October 2013 showed for the first time majority of Americans favor legalizing marijuana. 58% of respondents said they're in favor of it. Last year represents nearly 5 times the number who said so the first time Gallup asked the question in 1969. So America has come full swing. That is the next frontier for America. That's the next free thing, right? We keep progressing. We allowed women to vote, you know, in 1920, and who would even assume or think about not having women to vote today? That would be a political disaster, right? To propose to stop women from voting. Comical, funny, but it wouldn't actually get any votes, so you would get no support at it, and you'd be laughed out of the political establishment forever and ever. So, you know, amen. So you don't want to do that, right? You want to progress, and you keep on going. So clearly, half the people, you know, that have vaginas in this country should be allowed to, of voting age. The adults should be a part of the political establishment, so they should be not only voting, but actually speaking on lots of different matters. There's the whole thing actually seems like it's more constructed for women. So really, 80% of all the sales, you know, of advertisers on TV is geared towards women. They spend a lot of money. Households are the basic units, and so a lot of the products and material things are geared at the women to buy, and a lot of times women do buy the product. So it does seem like it's almost all centered around her. So she should speak up, and actually speak up for things that are right, you know. Speak up for justice, and speak up for the oppressed, and speak up for the downtrodden and those who are vulnerable and who could need a good ally, because this whole world, this entire country is made for you, baby. Right? So does the world need more poor presidents like Uruguay's Mujica? Of course they do. He offered to let 100 children from Syria seek refuge. He said that they could have rolling fields, they could live in a mansion, so they would have the most incredible place to stay. He even suggested they could stay at his presidential summer retreat, and he doesn't really use it, he says. He's made some incredibly admirable decisions, right? He legalized marijuana, legalized gay marriage. So those are the two final frontiers for America. After that, then once everything's like sort of our individual rights are guaranteed, now let's get our governments and get our communities on board with actually treating everybody right. You don't want tyranny of the majority, but we're not even close to the majority doing anything. So yes, I kind of want tyranny of the majority, and then we could go back to and say, hey, no, everybody's, we respect all people's rights. Nobody's to be discriminated on against for any reason whatsoever. So, let's see. The only problems I've heard so far, but coming from Colorado, Washington, or Uruguay, really nothing from Uruguay. They're actually saying they're doing it without tax, and they're not even making money. So they don't even want to make money in the thing. They just want the crime rate to go down, and they just want to see their country actually get, the drug lords' power go down, and the country itself go up. So it's actually a very conservative measure that's stopping the criminals from getting away with all their crimes. But also, there's no problems. It seems like it's actually being effective in doing what it aims to do, and they're able to, prescribe these things in a. It seems too regulatory. I mean, it sounds like they're to the T. How much, a gram here a day, a gram. You may possess no more than 480 grams, about a pound, over the course of a year. So, who is actually making those decisions? And you can only have that much or that much, and only 6 plants. No, everybody should be raising, the Kentucky that I see is everybody raises marijuana in their front yards and their backyards and all the yards everywhere. So really, if people do want to come by and try to take a bud here and there, there'd be so much bud everywhere that nobody would even, that would be okay. Yes, a homeless person, you need a bud or two to be able to, get through your pains, to cope through your troubles. Take a few. In fact, since we're talking, why don't we actually try to get you a house and try to get you a home and get you someplace. So, be a researcher. You could raise this stuff and then just, write down your observations. Try to crossbreed and try to get different types of strains and different, use different genetics and botany tricks and whatnot. So, yeah, that's the America that I see. Not just 6 plants, 6 plants per household, 6 plants, maybe inside your household if everybody's got apartments. But I mean, we need to have more urban. Everybody needs a house and some ground. So not the cluttered suburbs that where we're living on top of one another, but the spacious suburbs. That's the end goal. Or have everybody have their own farms, right? They're 40 acres and a mule. What happened to that idea? William Tecumseh Sherman, America. I like my 40 acres and a mule. I mentioned Portugal and the Netherlands. I should check into those countries just to see, because they were like sort of regulated or sort of free, and so there should be some evidence to what they have been experiencing too. Are they experiencing higher crime and people acting crazy? Is there just, bloodshed and death on the streets in the Netherlands and in Portugal? And plus, we've had medical marijuana legalized for a while. A lot of people are saying that anybody could get marijuana, just complain about the, this or that, but doctors don't want to lose their license. That's a lot of schooling just to, throw their license away. So they would be prescribing it for cases they actually believe in. So it doesn't seem like it would be that easy to get a medical card, and that is a deterrent. But there are, anti-anxiety and anti-pain, that sort of ties into the medicinal effects of marijuana. So it could be bullshit, but it also could be very legit. It could be a way to self-medicate. And if that's the case, then it's your own body. You can determine for yourself. So therefore, I would, if I was a doctor, I would be liberal with my prescriptions. But that's not to say that the ones that are out there are like that. They don't want to lose their license. They don't want to, they wouldn't want to chance it. So they feel like they would actually be chancing something every time they write it. So I think they would go conservative, and they would generally not write, prescriptions. So last week they said the first country to legalize marijuana. This article, Reason.com, May 16th, 2014. So they're saying Uruguay is the first country, since we don't look at Colorado and Washington as their own country. We're all Americans, but clearly Colorado and Washington are better, make up better people, right? Who's for freedom, and they care about, what we're allowed to do with our own bodies. So let's see. I probably won't get through any of this. Every consumer has to register with the government, pick one of 3 options for obtaining marijuana: growing it at home, up to 6 plants; joining a club consisting of 15 to 45 people; growing no more than 99 plants for their own use, or buying up to 10 grams per week from a specially licensed pharmacy. It's about a third of an ounce. So those are your choice. Raise 6 plants, which how much marijuana can you get with 6 plants? If 6 plants is equal to 10 grams per week times 52. Some people might say raising 6 plants is, so this is this is an incredible gift from God. Everybody should be raising, we should have marijuana Christmas trees instead of